Hey everybody, we're on with Josh, also known as Harry Tornado, whose full-time job is selling things on eBay and making YouTube videos about it. And
That's
if
right.
you don't know that reference, we did a parody video where I did that. I practiced it like 30 times, so it's stuck in my head.
At least 30.
Absolutely. Love it.
Welcome to the series on reselling, everybody, where we are talking to resellers pursuing financial independence. And Josh is on this path as well. We really wanted to pick his brain on this. And this is going to be a monthly series. So hopefully you join us each month as we talk to other resellers, just talk about finance and other things that, they might not do on a regular basis. So I'm so glad to have, everyone here who is live, but thank you so much to everyone else who might be watching, in the replay. We really appreciate that. Just leave us a comment either way, and we'd love to know that you're here. Today, this man needs no introduction, but, if you guys didn't already know, this is Josh, Harry Tornado. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Josh?
Awesome. Yeah. Josh, Harry Tornado. I've been reselling for about 3 years. I listed my very first thing on eBay Halloween of 2018. So it's coming up on my anniversary here. I was forced into being a full-time reseller after I was laid off from my job in August of 2019. And just been going ever since. YouTube kind of picked up since then, and now YouTube's kind of become basically my full-time job. My wife was able to join me full-time about 4 or 5 months ago, and now she's kind of like in charge of all the reselling stuff, and then I'm just kind of focusing on YouTube. I still do reselling. We still buy everything together, but when we get home,
we love seeing that transformation of your kind of content. We love seeing Haley be a part of the thing that you're building, this teamwork that is just, we love reselling couples. And so when Haley came on board full time, that was like so awesome. We love that. But
it really stimulated the channel a good bit. Like we got a ton of new viewers and subscribers to the channel, because I think having the family aspect on YouTube really makes you more enjoyable to watch. Apparently that's what people say. So it's been fun. It's been a blast, man. We love it. We love reselling. We love YouTube. And I think we figured out a good system to where we're both utilizing our abilities to the maximum without like feeling overwhelmed. And it's been good. It's trying to keep this ball rolling.
Yeah. And, speaking of family and Haley, how's Mose? That's the most important question.
He's good. He's good. We actually just got home from church. So every time we come home, he greets us out the door, usually with something in his mouth, some toy or something like that. So he's finally starting to calm down a little bit, and he's good. Probably laying in bed right now.
Awesome. Hey, so we like to start everyone off with a quick 6 icebreaker. Are you down for just 6 quick questions? All right. So why don't you start with the first one?
Okay. So the first question is low risk and steady returns, or high risk but huge potential?
Honestly, low risk and lower returns. Not from like a business standpoint, but just from like the YouTube standpoint, like the relatability. Like, I mean, I could go buy something for 10 grand right now and sell it for 15 grand and make 5, and that's awesome. But when you do stuff like that on YouTube, you lose your relatability, because nobody has 10 grand to spend on something. So even though it makes business sense to get into the bigger flips, I think I see more of a future for us financially in our job, scaling the YouTube channel. And I think in order to scale the YouTube channel, we have to stay small and relatable. So we're giving up a little bit of the profit on the reselling side to hopefully get more profit here on the YouTube side.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that. Okay, if you won $500,000 in a lottery, would you take a lump sum or payments over time?
I need to read the fine print. Usually lotteries are paid out in some sort of like annuity or something. So I'd probably take the lump sum. That way I can probably invest it to where I would get a higher return over time than just settling for whatever their annuity is.
Yeah. We would do that too.
Yeah.
So cooking at home or going out?
Cooking at home. Well, the frugal person in me says cooking at home, but then I also factor in everything. I'm like, okay, Haley, we had to buy groceries, which were like $15, and then we have to come home and like prep and cook and clean. That's an hour and a half, and then we eat. I'm like, we could just go to Moe's because it's Monday. Then on Moe's Monday, we can get 2 burritos and chips and waters for like $12. We're already saving $3 from the grocery costs, and we don't have to cook and clean. So like, I factor in other stuff. Like, I'm not like super strict Dave Ramsey to where it's always rice and beans, like never inside of a restaurant. I think there's ways to go about it in a logical way. Like some meals at restaurants are literally cheaper at the restaurant than you could make it at your home, like depending on how many ingredients and everything you'd have to buy. So I overthink stuff like this.
Yeah, and and your time is definitely worth a lot too. So there you go. So how do you pronounce this file name? .gif.
GIF.
Oh, all right.
GIF.
There you go.
Isn't that what it's supposed to be? Isn't that what like the creator calls it? GIF?
Yes, that is exactly it. Yeah. So everyone else who is saying the other word, it's not right.
You are wrong.
So pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
I'm not going to throw pineapple on like any pizza, but if it's Hawaiian pizza, like ham and pineapple, I like that combination, but I don't like pineapple just randomly tossed on there.
Very good. We're on that side too.
No, I'm not on that side. I
Wait.
think pineapple on all pizza is gross.
Oh, okay. Well, that's true. Well, we're split on it.
Yeah.
For the most part. Okay, so last question. Your dream vacation spot?
It's a good question. I don't know. I like the idea of like traveling to Norway. That's where Haley's like family's from. Like her granddad. I think her granddad was like actually came over from Norway. So it'd be cool to go over there and see that area. But I'm not crazy about flying. We just got back from LA, and just like the 4-hour flight, I was like, this sucks. So I can't imagine like a 12 or 15-hour flight or whatever. But I don't know. I don't have like a one destination that's always been like a dream. I just want to go everywhere, experience everything.
Yeah. I love that to want to go where Haley is from and experience that. I think that's just so telling of you and your relationship with her. I love it. So we have some experience with that. We've been to Norway, and let us tell you, it is actually not too bad if it's an overnight one where you try to get some shut eye, but it is a really long flight.
Yeah. I think if we ever do go, we'd kind of like save up extra and pay for like first class or like one of the seats that leans back. Cause I'm just like, it's worth it. Like an extra, $500 even just to be able to comfortably sleep for one night.
Yeah.
I feel like it's worth it. We're not very materialistic people, but like in terms of comfort, like sometimes it's worth it. I don't know.
Yeah, you should definitely get into the travel hacking scene because making most of all of your credit card points and doing all of that, there are some really cool hacks on how to get it pretty cheap and maximizing your credit card points to get upgrades. All of that that stuff is really cool.
For sure.
Yeah. Or you can just be like us and pray that you get lucky that you get, an empty seat next to you, which was what happened on our flight to Norway. So.
Yeah. we had the middle rows, 3 seats, but it was empty in the middle. So one of us could lie down. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So really quickly, this is not meant to be any type of financial advice or anything. Don't, take this show as advice.
Entertainment purposes only.
Exactly. Yes. Entertainment purposes only. So with that being said, let's just have a working definition here. So financial independence is when your investments, savings, or passive income is greater than or equal to your expenses. And that to us might mean early retirement, meaning you no longer have to work to earn money, basically. And you get to do what you want, when you want, how you want. That's kind of our working definition of it. Would you add anything to that, Josh?
I think you nailed it on the head. Just like you get to a point where whatever your needs are, your financial needs every month, your investments will pay for it. So there's no point in working at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So on the flip side, though, if you had to think about financial independence in that way, what is financial independence not? Like, what would you never give up when you're pursuing financial independence? What are the things that you really love about the life that you currently live or anything like that you'd never give up?
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely love my job. Like this is by far the dream job, even if I was able to retire and I would still do YouTube, maybe not on the scale that I'm doing it now. 3 videos a week is tough sometimes, especially when you factor in like traveling and things like that. But I would, if the way we're on now, we're debt free except our house. And we could probably have our house paid off by 6 months or so. And we're very frugal in the fact that like, we just don't Like we could live off like $3,000 a month. So you don't need, you could have 2 rental properties and you retire if you only need $3,000 a month, you know? So I don't want to sound like cocky or anything, but I'm 30 now. So I feel like if I'm not retired by 40, something would have gone very wrong. If I'm debt-free at 30, making, you know, really good money like we're making now, 10 years, that's like very conservative, I feel like.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, we don't think that's cocky at all. I'm 30 and we hope to be retired. Very, very aggressive goal is 10. And we don't think that that's undoable, especially for you and the growth that you've had. So 10 is great, but ours is more like 15 or 20. And even then, we're still coming out ahead because the quote unquote retirement age is 65. So anything before that,
25 years.
Yeah. So
the only bad thing is like, we're in a part now where like a lot of our friends, you know, work and have kids and they can't do stuff. I'm like, hey, you guys want to, you know, let's go to Vegas. So we're going to Vegas. And they're like, sorry, we have to work and we have children and we don't have money for that. So it's being financially independent and you know, having the ability to enjoy your money early in life is kind of lonely sometimes. So I like this community, you know, people can come together and like, I don't know, live life with each other. I don't think we're meant to work for 65 years and then start living. I don't think that's the answer.
You know, that's a great point. I think that the mindset that a lot of resellers have of being, you know, independent without having a boss, setting your own schedule, that is so common in the financial independence community that we saw a great connection there. And that's why we started the series, is that everyone wants to have some level of financial independence, and reselling is a great, you know, way to get there.
Yeah. I don't think, like, I really enjoy reselling, like the process of finding things, but I don't enjoy listing. I don't enjoy like dealing with customer returns and things like that. So like I will still thrift and go to flea markets and garage sales looking for deals. But if we get to a point where we can retire and we don't need the reselling income, I mean, we could just keep making YouTube videos every so often, keep, you know, enjoying going to thrift and finding the deals and just give the stuff away. You know, we're almost to that point now where like we're trying to give away a lot of stuff. Went to a Goodwill grand opening today. It was amazing. Like the best Goodwill ever. We spent over $500.
Wow.
And I mean, we'll probably make like $2,500 in profit, but I'm going to give some of this stuff away just to, I don't know, be nice, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah,
awesome.
I don't think anybody enjoys the reselling process, like actually listing and selling the stuff enough to do it for free. I think everybody wants to make their money and get to a point where they can retire and then be done with it and just focus on the fun part, which is finding the stuff.
Right. And we follow Haley too, and she posted on her story that she had 2 large bags, and that wasn't even the whole thing. And
I checked out like 3 times. I like went to the cash register 3 times, went back to the car.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
so tell us a little bit about your FI journey in general. You know, what got you started? Did you ask that already?
No. Well, well, tell us also about Dave Ramsey and
that's give us the
whole
details
story
on that,
and maybe give us the story about having that internship with a Dave Ramsey-esque, you know, financial coach internship thing.
Yeah. So growing up, both my parents made a ton of money. Both my parents made over 6 figures a year, and we lived in a town called Hampton, South Carolina, which the average income in Hampton is probably under $30,000 a year. So we were, in terms of income, my family was extremely wealthy in this town, but my parents still lived paycheck to paycheck. Like they made all this money, but they had like credit cards and I don't know, went on the vacations and stuff. I didn't really know. I just knew that my parents made a lot of money, but we had a nice house and like decent cars and stuff, but we didn't ever have a surplus. There was a lot of like, I don't say a lot, but like most of the arguments in the house were about money. And I'm like, it seemed normal because like everybody fights about money. But I was always raised to believe like, you know, you're always going to have a car payment. We just paid off this car. We got to go get another one. You're always going to have a house payment. And I was like, okay, like whatever you say, you're the adult. I'm supposed to trust you.
Yeah.
Nothing. I'm not digging against my parents, but after I moved out and had some financial independence of my own in college, I just made all these mistakes because I was like spending money on my credit card just to build my credit score, and I was just buying dumb stuff, just being dumb. And I eventually got to a point where I'm like, this is on a bad track. I don't want to end up being in a place where I'm making good money later on in life, but I'm spending it all on debt and stuff. Like I remember I had one of the first, I guess, responsible or mature money moves I did. I had a Belk credit card. And I don't even remember what I spent on it, but it was like $1,100 balance on there. And I was just making the minimum payments, like $25 a month. And on my statement, it's like, if you make the minimum payment, you'll have this paid off in 12 years. I'm like,
oh man.
So I got my tax refund one year. It was like $1,200. I'm like, I really want to spend this on fun things like video games and, experiences, but I didn't. I took the whole check and went to Belk, paid off my whole Belk credit card. And I was like, this kind of feels good.
Yeah.
Like this is, it sucks, but I did it to myself, I'm like, I feel like a lot of people and myself really, like when you spend a little bit of money at a time, it never feels like I would have never have spent $1,100 at Belk in one go. But I was going, every couple weekends and getting a shirt and getting some pants. Like, oh, this is a cool jacket, and it just kind of snowballed on me. So when I got that paid off, that kind of sparked it. I was like, okay, maybe I can like change some things in my life and get on a better path. So I'm not like in such a position where like I have to work for the rest of my life. I never expected I would be retired at 40, but I didn't want to work until I was like 65 and then still have nothing in retirement. Both my granddad, my great uncle, and my great aunt have all passed away in the last like 5 years.
Wow.
I've left anything to the family. Like all three of them passed away and nothing left. And I was like, how does somebody live? I think my granddad was like 86 when he died. He's a great guy. Obviously, I love him to death. But in terms of financially, he was not very savvy. And I'm like, man, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to, I don't know, like I want to leave my kids something. Like, I think
definitely
$3,000 in his checking account when he died. I'm like 86 years. He was always a hard worker. He'd never really spent money. He was always pretty cheap. So I don't know where it went, but he just didn't have anything. And I just, that kind of reiterated the fact that I wanted to build something that could, live past me as a person,
Right.
So anyway, I started a couple businesses, started woodworking a business. That was a lot of work. Didn't really make any money with that. I thought I was making money, but I didn't. And then I found reselling and I was like, oh, this is cool. Cause you don't have to build anything. You just go find stuff and sell it as is. That's easy. So I started that and I was just making side money. I got a good job at I'm skipping past the internship in Dave Ramsey. I don't know, somewhere along the line, I found Dave Ramsey when I was going through all these changes. I was like, okay, I got a guy now that can like lead me in the path. And there's a whole community of people online. And he's got a YouTube channel and I'm not alone in this. Like, I'm not crazy to think that you don't have to always have a car payment. You don't have to always have a house payment. So that kind of sparked it. And then the internship turned into a job selling insurance, which was okay. It was just feast or famine. Some months I'd make $2,000. Some months I make $800. And I'm like, I need something a little bit more sturdy. So I became an insurance underwriter. That was good. $42,000 a year, insurance benefits, South Carolina. That's living high on the hawk. So I figured I'd do that forever. And then I got laid off. And now here we are.
Yeah. Wow. That was a great story. So as far as
I was rambling so much.
No.
It
was very coherent because it sounded like you took these, you were very thoughtful in the way that you thought about your parents and your great uncle and grandparent, and you made a change, whether it be with Dave Ramsey or not. It's so telling that you put emphasis now. You even made a full video about your budget. And so the transformation, I think, is very telling in how you've lived your life and the way that you've transformed it, because you put so much emphasis on it, even to the point where you spend a whole video trying to say you want to keep your costs low. That's really important. You just
that's so important.
Dove into it.
Because like,
and I think that's so underrated.
I think budgeting and like keeping up with everything and like tracking every dollar and whatever. I don't like that. That sucks. So my goal was just like, I'm just going to make so much money that I don't have to track every dollar. We're just keep our expenses low, house payment, basic food, clothing, stuff like that. Because if you're making 4 or 5 times your monthly need every month, you don't need a budget. A budget is just when I was working a bunch of fast food jobs and minimum wage jobs, I was making $1,000 a month. My expenses were like $1,000 a month. So yeah, I needed a budget back then. But I hated it. I was like, this sucks, man. I want to work something and do something in life where I can make more money. So I don't have to be so conscious about all this stuff. I just want to be able to spend money on things that I want to spend money on without having to stress about it.
Yeah.
So did Dave Ramsey have much of an impact on you? Well, it seems like maybe it did, because you have this this reply to people better than I deserve.
Mhm.
And that's a pretty that's almost a Dave Ramsey-esque saying. Do you agree with
Mhm.
that? I don't know. It sometimes rings in the Dave Ramsey
Yeah.
camp.
Yeah, for sure. It's anytime I say that, people are always like, "Oh, you must watch Dave Ramsey," because nobody says that if they don't watch Dave Ramsey. Like,
Right.
I've never heard anybody say that doesn't watch Dave Ramsey.
When you first started on that, did you have to do the whole envelope system and get on that, or did you kind of manipulate or adjust it to your own lifestyle?
Honestly, I never really tracked it as well as I should have. I would just be like, I would kind of look at my balance and then look at all the bills that were due that month, and then like, okay, I remember one time when I was working at Chick-fil-A, you got my paycheck, I paid all my bills, and I had like $48 left for the next
Whoa.
2 weeks. I'm like, all right, so we're looking pretty good. I think I can make this work. And
Oh man.
now I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I wasn't more stressed. But yeah, I would
Yeah.
always just like pay my bills first. There was a time when I was
Mhm.
working this job at a deli, and I hated it. Like, it was the worst job in the world. And I'm like, this is awful. Like, I've never been more miserable in my life. So I quit, and I didn't have another job lined up because I was like, it's a deli. I was making like $1,000 a month. I'm like, I can literally get a job like this anywhere. And it turns out I couldn't. I applied everywhere. I remember I applied it, went to Burger King and filled out an application, and they didn't call me in for an interview. I'm like, this is
Oh,
Burger
man.
King. Like, this
Brutal.
is bottom of the barrel. So
Dang.
I think I went 45 days without a paycheck, and I didn't have any savings because I was making $1,000 a month, spending $1,000 a month. I mean, I was trying to, like, I borrowed a little bit of money from my mom, but I didn't want to like tell her how poor I was. I guess I didn't want to, it was like embarrassing. So I was like, I resorted to playing guitar on the street, like busking for money. I made pretty good. Like, I was playing so much that like my fingers were starting to blister. I was going out every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. But it was good because people don't do that in South Carolina. So it was like, oh, look at this kid. So I think I made like over $1,000 in like 3 weeks just doing that.
Wow.
So I paid my rent. My rent at the time was $250 a month. I was living in a sublet room inside of a Section 8 house. Like,
Whoa.
very that place was rough. I've always wanted to do a YouTube video, like just ride by the house and like show from the outside how bad it is, because that place, it was rough. It was like third world country in that little cul-de-sac.
Dang, this sounds like a story of started from the bottom. Now you're here. Jeez,
yeah,
Louise, this is awesome.
It really was. But after that, I finally got my job at Chick-fil-A, and then still struggled.
That's a way above Burger King. So
yeah, that was so stressful though, because like I went for the interview, and I had worked at Chick-fil-A like a couple years prior to this. And I went for the interview. I literally had no money. Like, I just paid off all the bills. It was like a Monday or something. So I just paid off the bills from the guitar money from the week prior. Went for an interview. The lady said it went well. She's like, can you come back in 2 days? And I was like, yeah. But in my head, I was like, I'm on E right now. My gas tank's on E. I don't have money for gas. Like, how am I going to even get here to the second interview? And then I got hired. I made it to the second interview, and she said, okay, can you start like next week? I'm like, I guess I'll have to figure out how to get here that week too. And like, I don't know, just that was a really hard time in my life. I actually had some point where I had like $9. I talked about this on YouTube before, but I had $9 left, and I had no food in the house. I went to the grocery store and bought like a bag of oranges and a pack of hot dogs. And I lived off that for like 2 weeks, and I ended up having to go to like a food bank to get food. And I think, like, I don't know, that whole month of my life was just like a huge like wake up call. I'm like, this sucks. I'm never going to do this again. Like, I don't care what I have to do. I think I don't know, the guitar. I kept doing the guitar thing as I was working at Chick-fil-A just to supplement, but it was very hard to scale because you can only play guitar and sing for so long before your voice goes and your fingers blister to death. So it was rough. Man,
but you hustle, Josh. You hustle, and
absolutely,
that was a great.
I'm all about work, man. I'm all like, going to the food bank, I was like embarrassed. I'm like, I don't need to be here. Like, these people actually need help. And then I had to like just reconfirm. It's like, no, you need help because you don't have any food and you don't have any money. Like, you are the person that needs to be here right now. So I don't know. That was just it was weird. That was the only time. So I'd never go back.
Yeah.
Make all this food last the rest of my life if I have to.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of humility to do that. But I think in our financial, financial independence and living below your means also takes humility, because part of the spending so much is about pride. It's like trying to show off how much you have. Whereas if you really are happy with what you have, and have that humility, then you don't need to spend all this money. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it okay if we do a couple? We had 2 questions that I've seen in the chat, so
Yeah,
we'll
absolutely.
do those. So Secrets of Wanderlust, they asked, how long did it take before YouTube felt like it was a help to your business instead of just a time suck?
From the very beginning, because when I first started YouTube, I had no expectation of ever making money from it. I was just doing it for fun, and it was kind of almost like an escape from reselling. I'm like, if I'm gonna be listing and buying stuff, I might as well film it so I can at least have fun while I'm doing it.
Right.
So I never expected YouTube to become anything. It's wild. But I think from the very beginning, it's helped my business, either distracting me from the work. It took about 9 months of like consistently uploading videos to get monetized. I think my first YouTube check was like $80 or something, and it's consistently gone up since then. But yeah, in terms of like the income from YouTube, obviously is wonderful. And then of course, like the advertising. I mean, I'm literally showing people what I'm buying, and we get emails every day of people wanting to buy the stuff that I just showed, so it's cool. It's always benefit. Even if you want to start YouTube and you never get monetized, you never have money, and you don't enjoy it, I still think you should try it just so you can have videos to go back and watch later. Like I made a video the two days after I got laid off. And I was just like really kind of scared. I didn't really show it in the video that much, but I was pretty scared and nervous. And I go back and watch that sometimes just so I can see like, okay, this worked. We're good.
Wow, that's powerful, man.
Yeah, it's almost like going back and reading old journals. Like it
exactly.
It's a time capsule of like, this is exactly how I was feeling at that time, and this is what was happening and all of that. It's really kind of fun to do that. Kind of weird though.
Kind of weird watching yourself, but it's still fun.
Yeah. Okay, and then here we have another one from Christy, and she asked, do you think you would still find a way to make more money? I think she means make more money after you're retired.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We're in our late 40s. Hubby runs a business now, but we could be retired if we wanted. Yeah. There's a guy in my church retired, and who's like 55, and now he's like 75, and he's just been doing nothing. Like he like volunteers and stuff. But I for me, making money and like running a business is something I enjoy. It's like my passion. It's kind of like Gary Vee. Like I don't think Gary Vee works for the money. I think that's what he's born to do. I think people are either true entrepreneurs are born in it. And I do think I'm an entrepreneur. I remember like in elementary school, we had to sell these like wrapping paper things to like fundraise. I was in like 3rd grade, and I was talking to my mom. I was like, okay, what if I go door to door with like pins and like say if they buy 3 rolls of wrapping paper, I give them a free pin. And she's like, that's dumb. But in my head, I'm like, no, that was just my entrepreneur thing working before I knew what it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm always gonna do something to make money because it's fun. If you can go to a flea market and find something for $10, it sells it for $500. Not because I need the $490, just because it's freaking awesome to be able to do that.
Yeah. I have to say, my parents are retired, and they do all sorts of random things. Like they work at a tennis tournament one summer, during the summer, and
they make bank too.
And my dad works at a golf course, mostly for the free golfing, but
it's all, and it's not
all
like,
that kind of stuff.
I don't want to come across as like I'm always going to work because I love money so much. Like I don't care about money. It's whatever. We're all going to beat skeletons one day. But it's cool to like buy stuff for your friends and family, and it's cool to just give money away to people. Like give away stuff on YouTube. Like I actually I'm thinking about starting like a scholarship program, but like only for trade schools, because I'm so anti-college. It's ridiculous. For most
we
people.
Feel that.
Yeah.
We're into that.
So like if somebody's like, I don't know if I should go to college, if I should be like a welder, I'm like, you want to go to welding school? I'll pay for you to go to welding school, because I'm so confident that is the better decision for you right now. So we're looking at that, and it's just
very likely
having
that
a lot of money is fun because you can just give it away and like just change people's lives. Like when I was at 45 days, I was unemployed. $100 would have changed my life. If somebody would have came up and like, hey man, you want $100? Look, you can flip stuff. Take this $100, go take 50 and go buy yourself some food, and take the other 50 and go buy crap at Goodwill and flip it on eBay. That would have changed my life.
Right. Yeah. And to that note, with the welder, welders make a lot of money too. So in a lot of cases, they're way better off than people who sometimes go to 4 years of college or university and they're in debt.
This kid at our church, he's a welder, and he was on like Eagle Scouts, and they did his Eagle Scout ceremony at our church. And the guy speaking was like, he said something like, he may be just a welder now, but one day he's going to be an engineer. I'm like, no, he could just be a welder and make more money than an engineer. He can make 6 figures as well. He make more money than you talking right now.
Right.
You know, like that rubbed me so wrong. I'm like, people just have such a negative connotation about trades. Like, oh, that's for rednecks or people that can't get into college. I'm like, like if you're an electrician or a plumber, I mean, you can make 6 figures easy.
Oh yeah.
Start your own business. And
right.
I don't even get started about that.
No worries. Okay, let's change the subject then.
We have a few more questions that have come in the meantime. Let me get these. I think 2 more. So Anita, the retired millennial, asks, how much do you make as a full-time reseller, if you'd like to share?
So my wife and I usually net like pre-tax income on just reselling of between $4,000 and $6,000 a month. This month is kind of weird because we're traveled to LA last week, and then we're going to Las Vegas next week or something. I don't know. So this month maybe a little bit lower, but usually $4,000 to $5,000 a month.
Nice.
That's great. That's kind of our goal if we ever went, if one of us went full time. And then Misha asked, how many times did you have to play Crash when you were busking?
So the running joke was like, I would always ask people if they had requests, and I don't think I've ever gotten a request that I actually knew, because I don't have like a huge library of songs that I know.
Yeah.
So I would usually just learn, like, because people are walking by constantly, so you don't have to know 50 songs. Like there'd be some nights I would just play like the same 4 or 5 songs in a loop, and because nobody ever heard the same song twice, because they would stay maybe for a couple songs and then walk away, and I was like, okay, I'll play that song again because they're gone.
Nice.
Yeah.
Never played that one.
You didn't play what's the other one? Wonderwall.
Did play Wonderwall. I knew that one. That one was enough that I decided to learn it.
Nice. Classic.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Okay, so here, one of our questions now. What's your main vehicle aside from this whole YouTube thing? Do you invest? A vehicle of making money. Do you invest money? Do you have other sources of income other than reselling and YouTube?
So we have Amazon affiliates, which is usually pays our mortgage every month, and that's pretty nice because that's totally passive. Like I just have like I linked all my products. And then kind of copied and paste that to every video. So now anytime somebody clicks on that, we get like a 4% commission. And then anything else they buy on Amazon within 48 hours after clicking that, we'd also get a 4% commission. So like one time somebody bought like a $4,000 mattress on Amazon, and we got like $180.
Whoa.
Like,
that's awesome.
I definitely didn't recommend that mattress, but thanks so much. So that's why a lot of YouTubers are going to push affiliate links, like getting into the holidays. Like, hey guys, look at this link for this mouse. It's really cool. Even if they don't buy it and they do holiday shopping within 48 hours on Amazon, you'd get a commission on that. I don't know how Amazon is affording paying all these commissions to random people, but it's awesome. We're making over $1,000 a month just with Amazon affiliates. YouTube is a vast majority of our income. Reselling is good. I have like just over 10 grand in Robinhood, and that's not really making money. That's just kind of growing. I don't plan to sell anything.
Like retirement sorts.
Yeah, we have Roth IRAs that we maxed those out this year, and we're in the process of transferring from an LLC to an S corp. So I don't know if we're going to do the SEP 401k or the SEP IRA, whatever it is, or the self-employed. I don't know.
The solo 401k.
And see which one.
Yeah, exactly. Ask an accountant for sure.
Yeah.
But that's great. If and when we decide to go that whole business route and do our own 401k, that's definitely something we want to do to minimize our tax liability. So
yeah.
So here we have another question in the chat. So Gas Locker asked, do you feel you can scale your reselling business,
or do you even want to?
Yeah, that's the key. You can scale a reselling business if you want. If I was just a reseller and I didn't want to do YouTube, I'd get a warehouse. I'd hire employees. I'd get into wholesale. I would hire people to shop for me. I'd be like, hey, I'll pay you $20 an hour. Go to Goodwill. Here's a list of things you're looking for. If you have a question, shoot me a text. Here's a business credit card. Buy it. I'll pay you. And there's so many people that are not interested in reselling that would love to be a shopper. Like, hey, you just go to the store, buy stuff with some guy's credit card, and he pays you $20 an hour. That's how you scale a reselling business. Hire people to list. Hire people to ship. Totally hands off. I think a lot of people think I'm not a good reseller because we sell things for $8 free shipping. I have the knowledge. I just don't have the desire. The money, it's a lot of work in scaling a reselling business because you have to have the insurance and the the employees and all that stuff to make serious money. On
Right.
YouTube, I do everything myself: thumbnails,
Mhm.
editing, filming, everything is me. And I think personally, I think it's impossible to make the kind of money you can make on YouTube if you know, our YouTube success is very it's not typical for sure. We're definitely blessed with that. But yeah, there's no point in us scaling the reselling business into something huge, because then that would lose the YouTube audience, which is, again, like I said in the beginning of this, I think that's where the real money is for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely got to be relatable.
And I think it's also, you really have to know that managing a reselling business is it's like a different job than being a
Yeah.
reseller. You know, it's a totally different skill set
Yeah.
because you're
And YouTube,
hiring people, you're managing people,
Yeah.
and that's different than buying things at the thrift store and selling them. You know,
Yeah.
so you have to
Anybody,
kind of know that you're going to like that. You know,
yeah, exactly. And I think anybody in the situation, like choosing between reselling and YouTube, it's like, if you can make the same amount of money, even this compared, if you can make, let's say 50 grand a month, if you can make 50 grand a month with 10 employees or 0 employees doing exactly the same amount of work, which would you choose?
Right, like 0 employees, obviously.
Easy.
Yeah.
It's an easy thing. So again, I don't I know how to scale a reselling business. I just don't I don't have the desire to it. And it's not as passive. Like YouTube, we have I don't know, like 350 videos right now, and there's videos we posted over 2 years ago. They're still getting views. Like the one video we posted almost exactly 2 years ago, it's got like 10,000 views in the last week. So that's almost passive income. You know, if something happened to me and I was in a hospital or something for 3 months, YouTube would still make money every single day. Whereas a reselling business, all your employees could quit, and then you're just stuck with stuff, and then that stuff isn't cash, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. Okay. We have a lot more questions are coming in quickly now. Okay. So Urban asked, do you remember what the first item was that you listed on eBay?
I don't remember the first thing I listed, but the first thing I sold was an Adidas windbreaker. It was in my personal closet. I think I got it at Goodwill. I've been shopping at Goodwill for like 6 years. It was a Goodwill jacket. Paid $5.75 for it, I imagine. Wore it for like 2 years. Listed it and sold for $18 free shipping. Didn't know how to ship it, so I went to the post office and bought one of those brown envelopes that were like $4, and just did whatever they told me to do. And I think I ended up losing like $2 on the transaction.
Yeah.
Right.
I was gonna say probably didn't make much money.
That's a rite of passage, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to make that.
Everybody's got to lose money on their first sale.
Right, exactly. And then the Hoogs, they asked, do you have a set amount of money that you invest a month?
So starting in January, we will. Right now, we just we maxed out our Roth IRAs this year, and we haven't started our 401k yet, so we haven't put anything in that. So next year we'll have was it $500 a month each going into our Roths, and then I think with the self-employed 401k you can put up to $19,500 each in that per year. So I don't know if we'll max that out, but we'll come up with some amount that we're comfortable with and just put that on automatic draft. I would like to get to a point where we're investing at least like $2,000 a month, like $500 to the Roth every month each. And then like another $500 each to our whatever 401k plan we have. And also, you know, just if we can invest more than that, that's great. But I'd like to get to the point where we're doing at least $2,000 a month.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly. And then Profit Picker Burke, he asked, Josh, what percentage of your time is spent reselling versus working on your channel?
So in the sourcing of reselling, Haley and I do that together. I mean, you guys pretty much see all of our sourcing. We don't really source a lot of camera. So we'll like go out to Goodwill or flea market, whatever, together. Come home, I'll start working on the YouTube video, and Haley will start like getting stuff cleaned and listed, and then we both do the shipping. So I probably spend like 40 hours a week on YouTube and like 10 on reselling, and Haley probably spends like, I don't know, maybe like 30 on reselling together. Cause it's hard to say, because some of our reselling time is together and some is separate. So I don't know. My time is probably 80-20 favored to YouTube, and Haley's time is 100% reselling, I guess, if you don't count her being in the videos. She doesn't help edit or anything like that.
Right.
So if you had to choose between it looks like lately you've been doing a lot of flea markets and garage no,
Mhm.
what? No, not so much garage sales, Goodwills and thrift stores. If you had to
Mhm.
choose which one was your favorite, what gets you the most excited?
Mhm.
I think flea markets, because I think you have a much better chance of finding profitable items at a flea market versus a Goodwill.
Mhm.
Personally, I mean, you can find stuff anywhere, but a flea market is just fun because you never know what's going to be out there. You never know. Sometimes it's junk, sometimes it's like Chinese wholesale stuff that's like new cheap stuff, but
Mhm.
Mhm.
sometimes some random guy has some random thing that's worth a lot of money. So,
Mhm.
and you
Nice.
can negotiate. Negotiating is always fun.
Mhm.
Goodwill will not negotiate. I know. I've tried.
Yeah.
That's a great point
Yeah,
for
definitely
sure.
not.
You know,
Definitely
there's
not.
the relationship going back and forth and having fun in that aspect too. So
Mhm.
that's a really good point.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So you say you do three videos and eventually you want to get maybe down to one. How long do you think that will take, or where do you see the path, or how do you see that growing?
I don't know.
Oh, you
I
don't
mean, we've
know.
been ever since we started. So like a couple months ago, Haley quit her job and started with us, and then we started doing 3 videos a week, and we've just
Mhm.
seen such growth in the channel that, and I'm not even at 3 videos a week. I never feel overwhelmed. Like sometimes things are kind of hectic,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but even right now it's more. If we weren't traveling anywhere, it would be fine. The only thing that's kind of hectic
Mhm.
right now is that we're traveling
Mhm.
a good bit. So I never feel overwhelmed. It would just be like, I don't know. I like doing
Yeah.
3 a week because we have a nice flow on YouTube, and even if we don't have any videos that take off, if we can just
Mhm.
upload 3 videos a week at 40,000 views each, which is what our average is, 40 to 50.
Mhm.
I mean, we'll be set. I don't want to have any crazy expectations or try to do anything to like get
Mhm.
greedy and make more money and ruin what we have here. So
Right.
Right.
so we'll just keep going as long as I can, as long as I need to. If it gets to the
Yeah.
point where we can retire, then
Mhm.
I'll make as many videos as I want. And right
Yeah.
now, I
Exactly.
want to do 3. So
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome, and it looks like it's working. I mean, the growth
Yeah.
is crazy. We've been
yeah,
watching it for
in
Yes.
the
quite some
Yes.
last,
time.
I think we've gotten like 23,000 subscribers in the last like 28 days alone, which is
Wow.
crazy.
Wow. That's nuts. We have a question from Murray Life. She asked, what is your number one tip you would give to someone wanting to succeed on YouTube, since you're talking about YouTube growth?
Yeah, I've seen her channel and her
Mhm.
TikTok or Instagram or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. She's a
so
great TikTok.
she's a reseller. So I think
Uh-huh.
YouTube advice is different for reseller YouTubers and
Mhm.
regular YouTubers. That's something I kind of took away from the conference we just went to.
Mhm.
For resellers, you kind of have to do something that nobody's done before. And there's a lot of resellers on YouTube, and they've done pretty much everything you could possibly do with reselling. And so for us, we've kind of gotten out of like the idea based content creation when it comes to reselling.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know, the challenges and things like that. They just don't really work well for us. What's worked well for us is implementing like more of the family aspect and like the vlog and the relationship style.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I mean, one of my last videos, I said something like, "I'm sorry if you guys aren't interested in this, blah blah blah," and somebody's like, "You guys could make videos about mushrooms," and I would watch it, and I love that because that means we're doing
Yeah.
a good job of like bringing
Mhm.
people into our life with like the
Mhm.
reselling content, and like,
Mhm.
while you're here, look at these rose bushes, they're awful. What should I do about
Mhm.
these?
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
we get like,
Yeah,
that video had
legacy.
like 70 comments about people telling me all these rose bush tips, and people
Yeah.
would only take the time to do that if they like enjoyed the video and like were
Mhm.
entertained. So I think, honestly, I think reselling alone, I don't think you're going to grow that because it's already such a capped market as it is. Like
Mhm.
Paul Cantu is like the most subscribed reseller if you consider him a reseller. He's got like 600,000 subscribers. I would love to hit 1 million subscribers one day, but I think it's going to be pretty difficult if I don't branch out from the immediate audience of reselling, because there's only
Mhm.
so many people that are interested in this content.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, we've experimented a little bit here and there with like talking about YouTube or talking about our travels or our family and our dog and
Mhm.
stuff. And I think
Right.
slowly implementing that and having people
Mhm.
just be a part of your life more is a way to grow more. My friend Drew Profit Monsters, he wants to be a YouTuber and he's really passionate about it. I've told him before, I was like, man, you got to just turn on your camera and just show what you're doing. Like, what are you doing? You got
Mhm.
orders shipping out, just ship out orders. Just talk about
Mhm.
your wall, or I don't know. Just people just
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
like reselling. People just want stuff to watch. Like, I
Right.
don't care what you talk about. I just want to feel like I'm not working alone, you know?
Right.
So don't try to do too much. Just try to maybe go more the vlog style. Have it be fast paced and entertaining, and you know, not literally watching paint dry, but add in a little bit of something that makes you unique. Everybody's making reselling content. Everybody's going to the bins and, you know, Ben's haul vlogs and 45-minute videos. I got this shirt at the bin. That's done. Those videos are going to get, you know, a couple thousand views, and they're going to be tanked. If you want to grow, you've got to do something else. And I think for a reseller, showing a little bit of your personal life and showing people like the genuine side of you, who you really are. I think people just want to
we do that. And we've been trying to branch out a little bit too. And you're so right. The emotional connection is such a strong point, because, you know, I mentioned earlier, you know, I want to know how Mose is, because, you know, I feel as though we have a connection with Mose because we watch so many of your videos, and you show Mose, and now that you're showing Haley, we have these connections as a couple now that you're showing your channel as a couple. And so that is definitely the way to go for sure. We
have some viewers that like started watching our channel for reselling, and then they don't even resell anymore. They just watch us because they want to keep up with our lives. My friend Chloe, she lives in LA. We actually met up with her when we were there. And she was like, so have you got your water heater replaced yet? Like, she was like so invested in like whether or not we got our water heater replaced. And she resells a little bit, but yeah, I think giving other people a reason to watch your content more than just reselling, because I think a lot of people get into reselling and then kind of lose interest because it's harder than they think. And if they find your videos and it's all reselling and never anything else, then they're going to lose interest in your channel. If they lose interest in reselling, they lose interest in your channel. So try to give people another reason to watch versus just reselling.
Yeah. So Gaslocker asked, kind of in the vein of starting reselling, did you spend a lot of money on equipment for your YouTube? And I'm going to add to that, like, what do you recommend people who are new on YouTube, or even kind of more advanced, would you recommend that they spend a lot of money on equipment?
So when I started, I didn't spend a lot of money. My first probably 100 videos were all filmed. My first like 30 videos were filmed on my cell phone and edited on my cell phone. My next 70 or so videos were filmed on my GoPro, which is a GoPro Hero 7. It's like $200. Still have it, still use it, and still edited on my phone. I was using Power Director, which the app was like, I think it was like $7 a month or something. And then I finally switched to Power Director on the computer, which was like 150. So right now, editing software is $150 flat, just one-time fee. GoPro is still the GoPro 7, super cheap. It works. When we were at the YouTube conference, like, it's not really about equipment. It's about like you as a person. Like, there are people with, you know, $6,000 DSLR cameras with a fancy mic and tripod and all this stuff. And I look at their channels and they're getting the same views as we're getting with a $200 GoPro. So it's not really, I wouldn't focus too much on the equipment. I mean, you want to have like good sound, like sound is really important. A decent camera, you know, make sure that, but I think more important than equipment is your editing, making sure your videos are like fast paced, quick cuts, no dead air, and good sound, and just making sure your content is good. If you have good content, nobody cares what kind of camera you have. But that being said, we use a Canon M50, which is like $500. We have a Sigma 16mm lens that was like $400. Got two laptops, they're like $1,000 a piece. Monitor was like $300. Webcam was like $50. This mic was like $60. So I don't know. I mean, what other business? Even if you want to start a YouTube business and you got like $2,500, $2,500 can start a really solid YouTube business. And there's no other businesses you could start for $2,500. Maybe a hot dog cart or something.
Right. Yeah, seriously. I'm sure you have all those as Amazon affiliates in your.
I do everything. I do. I have it linked in my stuff, and I love Amazon affiliates because it's just like, hey, I use this mic. I got this mic from Facebook, but it's good. Audio Technica. It's a great mic. I think it's like $120. I'm like, if you want to do live streams a lot, or like I use it for live streams and voiceovers and videos, I'm like, it's great. I use it all the time. Buy it. If you buy it, I get like $12.
Yeah. Okay, so Tiffany asked, what is one thing that you know now that you wish you had known when you started reselling?
I don't know. I mean, reselling is so cheap. Like, everything I buy is so cheap that I've never really made any super costly mistakes. And the mistakes I did make, usually I end up making a YouTube video about them down the road. So I'm like, it's fun. And is that on my side or is that you?
No, I think we got an Amber alert.
Okay. Shout out Amber. Yeah, I didn't really make any big mistakes. I mean, obviously you wish you'd like, I don't know, don't pass over stuff like, I passed on this Dymo printer one time. I didn't know what it was, but it was like, what's the big deal? It's just like a $50 printer,
Right.
So I don't know. There's not very many mistakes. I mean, I made mistakes, but none that were so bad that I'm like thought about them and remember them today.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how our business is. If I could just add to that, we are pretty risk averse. So we keep our costs low as much as possible. And I think that's in the same vein as what you're talking about. Like even if you do make a mistake, it's not going to be, career ending when you're a reseller. It won't turn you off completely. It's like, you're going to make a mistake. So what?
Exactly. So fun finds for you. They asked, if you dialed back your reselling, what would you do for content on your channel?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good question. I haven't really planned like a full-on substitute for reselling content. We posted our 2 videos ago was the only video we've ever posted. Well, since we started posting reselling content that really didn't have any reselling content in it at all. And it's still got, I don't know, like 47,000 views or so. It's like 6 of 10, which is normal. Like that's a normal video. So that experiment, I guess, worked well for us. So again, I mean, we've been growing the channel for a long time. So I think, 2 years from now, if we slowly incorporate more of our lives and we maybe develop new hobbies or something like that, we can talk about that in videos and become more of I guess the ultimate goal would become like a Casey Neistat where you could just make videos about anything.
Yeah.
And people would watch just because you're Casey Neistat and you make good videos, So I think that would be our goal. Like, I don't know what we'll make videos about, but I would love to get to a point in YouTube one day when I have the ability to upload a video about anything I'm passionate about and my audience would still like watch and appreciate that.
Yeah. I mean, I think the main thing is you have to kind of ease people from one thing to the other.
Yeah.
You have to.
This has to be slow.
Exactly. And then Urban asks, do you think it's possible to make 500 plus a day on eBay and still do it all yourself?
I mean, I think it's possible. Like, I don't know if you mean like sales or profit. Let's assume you mean profit in after tax. If you want to make $500 a day in profit after tax, it means you're going to have to make, I don't know, like $700 in profit. Most resellers that are doing thrift stores and garage sales are operating at about a 50% profit margin. So that means you're going to have to do about $1,400 in gross sales every single day. Let's say your average selling price is $10. So that means you're going to have to sell 140. Is that right?
Yeah.
You have to sell 140 things a day at $10 profit. So let's say $20 average selling price, you'd have to sell 70. What's half of 140? 50, 70. You have to sell 70 things a day. I'm not a mathematician. 70 things a day at 20 bucks, or 35 things a day at 40. So you get it. So it would be difficult. It'd be very difficult. Unless you sell one thing every day for $1,400. And that would be awesome if you could figure it out. So there's multiple ways to do it, but I don't think any of those ways is easy. So I'll say possible because I don't think anything is impossible, but that would be very, very, very difficult.
Yeah, it would definitely take a lot of work.
Yeah.
Hey, so we're going to go ahead and start wrapping it up actually. But with that,
I was just getting started.
Well, we have you for an hour, but if you want to go longer, we're totally down for that. Okay, so what advice would you have for someone who is just starting their financial journey where, if you had to look back and just look at the lessons you've learned throughout your financial journey, what would you say to someone who's just kind of down in the dumps or trying to figure it all out?
Honestly, I'm going to be pretty harsh and I'm going to just say, stop feeling sorry for yourself. What I tell people getting onto YouTube is nobody cares about you. That's true on YouTube. And honestly, it's true in real life. I mean, most people in life are very selfish. They're very self-centered and they have their own problems. So nobody really wants to hear about your sob story about why things aren't working out or why you don't have any money. It's up to you. You've got to get out there and figure out a way to make money like that. Money isn't everything, but it freaking helps. especially in the world we live in. You've got to have money. So, you know, take a little bit of time to cry and then wipe your tears and figure out some way to get some money in. I mean, you could go to freaking Dollar Tree and just buy snacks and just flip snacks, you know, go to offices and be like, hey, I'm poor. I have these snacks. Can you guys buy them so I can eat food today? I guarantee you somebody will buy your snacks. I actually want to make a video where I try to make as much money as I can in like maybe like a week and then a month, just like flipping snacks. Cause that's like no excuse. Everybody has a Dollar Tree. People are like, oh, I can't do this because I don't have thrift stores. My thrift stores are expensive and I don't know sell on eBay. I'm like, go to Dollar Tree, buy snacks, flip snacks. You can make $1,000 a month, guaranteed.
Yeah.
If you're willing to hustle, if you're willing to get out there and put yourself out there and stop feeling sorry for yourself and make some money, you know?
Yep.
So I'm sorry to be rude, but I'm just passionate about this, man. Nobody cares about your excuses. You've got to do whatever it takes to take care of yourself.
There are so many people teaching, you know, everyone about doing it with Dollar Tree or whatever, and it's all free on YouTube. They just got to go to a library if they don't have access to internet and just, you know, mooch off library Wi-Fi. But all things considered, I think you're so right, because there's so much to be done. And if you have that, what is considered a locus of control, where you can figure out what you have control over, you focus on that, and you really think about what you have control over and make the sales and make sure that, I guess, dang, I'm losing my train of thought here.
Well, you have control over your life. You know, that's the whole thing.
Your life.
And so you can blame other people for all the things that are going on in your life, or you can change it.
Yes.
You know?
Thank you.
And you just have to make the decision on it. And the more
people have
time
like
you
a victim
spend,
mentality.
Yeah, making excuses or doing these, you know, or thinking that this is the way I have to do it or whatever. You're stuck in this limiting mentality. You're just getting nowhere. Whereas if you can think about the possibilities, you can change the way that you're acting. You can change your circumstances in some ways.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you had some really good lessons in your part 2 of Vid Summit video. What are some things that you're most excited about trying to implement, you know, some of those lessons for your upcoming, I guess, next year or 2 years?
Yeah. That's a good question. So like one thing, I want to start putting a little bit more time and attention into thumbnails, because our thumbnails perform well in the immediate reselling community because the demand for production quality is so low. Like no resellers are using Photoshop or hiring professionals to edit thumbnails. Usually they're just doing screen grabs and stuff, and it works because that's what the reselling audience is used to. But when our videos get pushed out to people beyond the immediate reselling audience, and then we have bad thumbnails or bad titles, they're not getting the clicks. So YouTube is giving us this chance to get these new viewers, and we're not giving them the production quality that they're used to with like the film and photography videos and like the challenge, the big guys. I mean, Mr. Beast can spend up to $10,000 just on a thumbnail for a video because he knows that's really one of the most important things. Title and thumbnail are two most important things on a YouTube video. If you don't have a good thumbnail or a good title, people aren't going to click. And if they don't click, you don't get views. If you don't get views, you don't get money. So definitely putting more time and effort into better titles, better thumbnails. Probably need to sit down and learn Photoshop. I use Canva right now, which is fine. But I could probably invest some time into learning Photoshop, or maybe pay somebody to teach me or do it themselves.
Right.
Doing that. And also just like not trying to be like everybody else. This guy I talked to, he's actually, his name's Isaiah Photo. He was the guy on TikTok that did like, I'm trading this sand up to a Tesla from Elon Musk himself, and like went viral on TikTok.
Yeah.
And he posted a video, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I guess, like trading nothing to an iPhone in 3 hours. And I watched it. It was very entertaining, like super well edited, fun to watch. He didn't really trade anything. It just failed, but he was like really outgoing and like got a lot of reactions from people. And the video had like 50,000 views. I'm like, you paid somebody to film this with you. So he had a cameraman with him. He probably paid somebody to edit it because it was like super nice editing. And the CPM on a video like that is probably not very good, because I don't know if that would be considered a finance video or not. So he probably lost money on the video. And I'm like, and here I am. I can just grab my GoPro and just go to the flea market and get, 200,000 views in a week. So I don't know, like, I think it's important to like learn from other people, but if you try to like implement exactly what they're like, do you want to be like them? Like, I don't want to, that guy's got more subscribers than me, but I'm getting more views than him. He's got literally 10 times more subscribers than I do. And we're getting double or triple the views. So just because people have more subscribers or they appear like a bigger and more professional, I don't want to, it's nothing against him. He's a cool guy, but you just make sure that, I don't know, like YouTube is working. So I'm not trying to implement a whole lot of changes at this moment because I don't want to mess anything up, you know?
Right.
So just being a bit more professional, titles and thumbnails. At some point, like if it keeps growing, I'll need to figure out something to do with like responding to everybody. I mean, you guys probably saw my post on Instagram yesterday. It's difficult. I mean, even spending 2 or 3 hours a day responding to comments and emails and messages and DMs and website chat and all that stuff, and I'm still not getting everyone. Right. And if it keeps growing, it's just going to get harder and harder. So that's something I need to have a plan for, to kind of like slowly get to a point like, you know, maybe I'm only going to respond to comments in the first hour after the video post or something to like, hey, I can't respond to everybody, but if you comment on the first hour, I promise I will respond to your comment. And that will make it a little bit more easy for me to manage. So
maybe the next step is you make so much money that you can hire a social media manager.
That would be nice. The problem is like a lot of the questions we get are like reseller questions. So it's not just like, I don't know, like you'd have to have a knowledge about reselling.
Yeah, you're right.
Because we looked at that, but I'm like, do you know anything about reselling? And she was like, no. I'm like, okay, well, you probably can't help us very much.
No, let's do that.
Yeah. Dang.
Okay, well, we've had you for an hour. Is it okay if we still ask you our final 4?
Yeah, you can keep going, man. I've still got some hot chocolate over here, so I can go until it runs out.
We like to ask all of our guests these final 4 questions before we let them go. What's your favorite finance-related book, YouTube, podcast, or IG account that you follow or you just watch constantly? I think we already know the answer.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Dave Ramsey show. I guess that's a podcast. I do think Dave's advice is very conservative. And I don't, and again, a quote I heard from Sean Cannell, he's the guy behind the Think Media YouTube channel, is scared money don't make money. Right. And I think I don't think Dave is as conservative with his own money as he leads people to believe. But I think he's just got into this plan of giving people really conservative advice. You know, best way to avoid a ski accident is to not ski, you know?
Yeah. That's his brand now.
Yeah, that's his brand. So I think it's okay to take some risks and use credit cards wisely and things like that. But for the most part, I really enjoy Dave's radio show and the podcast YouTube channel. See, I don't know. I mean, I've read a lot of books. Rich Dad Poor Dad was really good.
I like that one.
But those are like obvious picks. Everybody here has probably read that one. If you haven't, you should check it out. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, we've read it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you know, I hear that you're a pretty big fan of Graham Stephan.
Yeah.
He's in that space. So if you're not checking that guy out, everyone in the chat, you should definitely check him out. He's got some really great videos.
Yeah.
Flips Finds Fun in the chat said Dave helps to eliminate debt, not necessarily make money. That's very true. He has good advice. If your goal is to get out of debt, he gives great advice. If your goal is to build wealth, you should probably get your advice from somebody else.
Yeah. The thing with Financial Peace University is that it'll get you only so close. You gotta level up, and we think that the financial independence kind of movement is graduate level stuff. So that's what we always equate it to.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay. So was there one specific reseller, social media, YouTube, Instagram account that got you started on reselling?
I think I found a Rally Roots video. That was one of the first reselling videos I found. I'm like, look at these people just going to Goodwill, buying shirts for $4 and selling it for $25, like consistently. And I was like, let's try it out. So I went to Goodwill, bought a couple shirts, and sold some. I was like, okay, we'll keep it going. Ever since then, it's just been an ongoing thing. I stopped selling. I was picking up like Tommy Bahama shirts because I went back and watched their first videos that were like 8 months old when they were still like really selling Tommy Bahamas. And I was like, why aren't these selling? This is like the exact same stuff they're selling. Like, oh, this was 8 months ago. Now everybody's seen their videos and everybody's selling Tommy Bahamas. So reselling trends come and go. So you got to make sure that the information that you're getting online is correct.
Right. Exactly.
So I think this is a pretty common question, but maybe you can elaborate on whatever the answer is. What is your favorite thing to sell, or what has been your favorite thing to sell, or your highest dollar, or just the coolest thing?
Oh, favorite thing to sell.
Category or otherwise?
I don't know. It's a good question. I like small electronics that are like weird but also valuable. Like, I don't know, like I've never found one. I've always wanted to find like a new in package like Sony Walkman or something like that. Those always sell. Like my friend Chris found one at a garage sale for like $2. I think he sold for like 200 or so.
Whoa.
I don't know, anything new in package is always fun because those are usually pretty valuable. But yeah, like small electronics, I guess. One time I found a watch, like a James Bond swatch, like it was new in box at Goodwill for like $4. I put that in a mystery box, Harry Tornado mystery box. And then the guy ended up selling it for like $200 and some dollars. Probably shouldn't put that in there because the box was 100, and I don't know. I think he ended up making like $500 on that box.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't know, anything small. I don't really like big things. I donated a New Wave oven I sold it at our garage sale the other day for like $5. It's apparently worth 100, but I don't know. I just don't like big stuff.
Right.
Yeah, New Wave shipping, all those pieces. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Wow, but that guy that got that watch, he's probably a fan for life.
Yeah.
He's actually the guy I hired to help film the limo video, thrifting in a limousine.
Oh yeah.
His name's Nick. I think he changed his name recently on YouTube to Flip Nick. He makes good videos, and he just doesn't get a lot of views. I don't know why. If you guys want to check out his channel, that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, we definitely will.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, so last question, which is just for you to plug what is going on in your life, or any big plans that you have for any kind of new initiatives that you have going on.
Yeah, maybe tell everybody about the Facebook group.
Oh yeah, I do have a Facebook group. A lot of the questions we get are the same. We're answering the same questions every single day. So I made a Facebook group. It's called Harry Tornado Networking Group, I think. It's a private group, but you can just request it. It's free. As long as you're a real person, we'll approve you. And it's just a way for people to like ask questions and answer questions. Honestly, I made it to like help give people a place where they could go and get help that I didn't necessarily have the time to keep giving continually every day. It's like basic YouTube questions, basic reselling questions, sharing your YouTube channels, networking with each other. So you can feel free to join that. Also have a Facebook page. I'm working with a company called Jelly Smack. And basically they're cross-posting all of our YouTube content to Facebook. It's a lot more complicated than that, but essentially that's what it is, cross-posting YouTube content to Facebook. So we're excited to launch that and see how that does. Because I think there's like an untapped audience on Facebook for reselling content, like old people that don't know what YouTube is, but they have a Facebook account, because old people love Facebook. I think if you get into Facebook with some well-edited reselling content, it should do pretty well. Crazy Lamp Lady, she posts on Facebook as well. I can't say how much money she makes, but it's a ton on Facebook. So
probably.
Oh, really? Wow.
There's a lot of money to be made there.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
so the Facebook group, I think, will eliminate quite a few of the things that we talked about previously. I had these thoughts as I rummaged through the comments of the Facebook group, and also thanks for making us admins. I'm not sure how that happened, but that's
any name that I recognized, I'm like, you're an admin.
Awesome. But that's kind of solving your problem almost. Instead of giving them a full answer, maybe in your Instagram, you can say, hey, check out the Facebook group. So
that's exactly what I'm doing.
So you're increasing the Facebook group audience, and everyone's helping each other out. You won't have to answer those questions yourself.
And I'm not the first person to make a reseller Facebook group. There's a ton of them out there, but I figured I'd make one. Apparently there's not enough.
Right. So those are all our questions. Thank you so much, Josh. I think we're going to leave it there. Do you have any closing thoughts?
I'm good for a few more minutes. What about you guys? Like, what's your plan with the fire movement and all that stuff? Like, what is? I don't really know a lot about you, honestly. I don't watch a lot of reseller content. I've seen a couple of your videos, but I'm not up to date. So give me like a little backstory from you guys.
Okay. Yeah. So we discovered kind of reselling, I think in 2019, it was November of 2019, I started an Instagram account where it was mostly just selling vintage clothes. I had followed some others and I thought I could do that. And I wanted something to kind of do on the weekends.
Yeah.
And it was about the same time that Kang started listening to
Choose FI?
a program called Choose FI, a podcast, and was trying to get me on board with financial independence, which at first I was like, I don't know, that sounds kind of greedy, and I thought, I don't want to just make a ton of money to just make a ton of money, and so we talked it through and, really kind of aligned our values so that, our money mission is really that we're able to first give away the money, that we make. That's always the first thing that we put in our budget is like the amount that goes to charity, and then the amount that we have for our needs, and then the amount that we save and invest, so that eventually our goal is that we retire and we're able to serve our community in a more kind of intentional way. So that's really the point, is that we're able to, serve our family, serve our community. And that's really our goal in our life. So that's really kind of where it all came from. And reselling has helped us get there really well. And we both still work full time. So
yeah, and we do reselling on the side. We've really supercharged our investing because of reselling. We mostly keep and budget our money for our regular jobs. We max out our Roths, we max out our 401ks, or at least this is the first year we're going to max out our 401ks. That's actually quite a lot. It's like 39,000 this year. And so we supercharged it, and we mostly invest in low cost broad-based index funds, because it's kind of like in the FIRE movement, it's one of the low risk type investment strategies. And so that's been our driving force. And so as far as the exponential growth of what our investments can do, that, we're okay with how steady that is. And so that's why we are pretty confident in 10 to 15 years. And if we continue to shovel more money from reselling into it, then we can very easily get there. And so we started this YouTube thing as for fun, really. We thought that maybe we had a way to bridge the FIRE community plus the reselling community, because as I mentioned previously, the mindset is very similar, where people just want to be able to do what they want when they want. And we feel that we're probably going to quote unquote retire at some point, but still do reselling. But we don't want to do it for 40 hours. Maybe we'll do it for 20 hours, and then for a lot of the other time we will spend time at our church, travel a lot. We love traveling, so we want to travel a lot, do travel hacking, so and then maybe vlog about it now that we are getting better with our YouTubing and editing and stuff like that. So that's kind of our deal. I mean, we have plans for this interviewing series to reinforce that idea. We have the college picker, we got Amber, arbitrage with Amber, we've got college picker, got the hoops coming up and stuff like that, where people just have that mindset of finances are really important. You got to plan for the future, but also they understand that keeping costs low, like you understand, keeping costs low is very important. That's kind of like the main point of it, but also have this mindset to think even further ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it was great to talk to you guys. Thanks so much for having me on.
It was a great pleasure. Thank you so much, Josh. We really appreciate it. And thank you everyone who is in the chat now. And thank you everyone who is watching the replay. We really appreciate you all so much.
Yeah, we'll see you all in the next one.
All right. See you later.
Thanks.